There's something else I heard about the deaths. It appears all the victims have been comely maidens. I'd better watch myself, eh? Unseemly japes aside, there's a rumor been going around. There's some has whispered that after each victim died, her rancor went into the great big rock southwest of here, causing it to flash and moan. This bears investigation, I reckon. I'm going to give you a fire sand stick to blow off a piece of that crag. The stick doesn't come with a fuse or anything, so you just have to throw the thing. Once you've torn the rock a new one, bring back some of the fragments and I'll give them a gander. There's something you should know. I have been keeping this to myself lest I worsen Medrod's paranoia, but I too have seen the winged eyeball. I cannot say whether it was coincidence, but my sighting took place precisely the same time as Medrod's. I was heading home after a day of digging when a shadow fell over me. Looking up, I found myself locked in a gaze with a giant eyeball. I let out a scream at the top of my lungs and ran without once looking back. This happened at the rocky area west of here, in case you had the mind to investigate. Alright, so I'm gonna throw these fireworks and collect the rock. This is really exciting stuff right here. Picking up rocks. Alright, so we got that part taken care of, and I'm going to go check out the spot where the other guy said that there was, where he saw the eye. Well, that's not an eye. I mean, it has eyes. It's got like 16 of them, apparently. I'm not really counting, but you can see them all there. A monstrous Banemite appeared, and you slew it? That creature had long been a scourge upon the folk of Falgord. Intentional or no, you have done us a great service. You have my gratitude. But this does make me wonder, was it truly a winged eyeball I saw? Or merely a trick of light combined with blind panic? Most folk are too scared to go within 100 yalms of the Rock of Rancor. Aye, it has a name. But what's a few vengeful spirits to a dauntless adventurer like you, eh? Huh. Why, these are just your garden variety crystals. 'Tis a bit hard to tell beneath all the dirt and grime, but they're definitely lightning aspected. I almost hate to say it, but that explains the flashing and moaning. Nothing to do with the marking or with the masked stranger. Looks like I've gone and wasted both your time and a perfectly good fire sand stick. Oh well. There have been no promising leads in the murders. I can scarce get a wink of sleep knowing that the killer is still at large. Judging by your furrowed brows, I take it this sorry business troubles you as much as it does me? I had been pondering my encounter. I was uncertain for a time, but there can be no doubt. It was a winged eyeball that I witnessed. It's implausible that I could have mistaken so distinct a creature for a bane mite. But you and I were malms apart. How could we have both seen it at precisely the same time? What's more, our adventurer friend here had a run-in with the bane mite at the very spot you claimed to see that fiendish eyeball, isn't that right? There must be an explanation. There must be an explanation. I know I saw an eyeball with wings. I wager an apple tart on it. Oh, he's serious. But listen, mayhaps it's not as mysterious as we're making it out to be. There's no reason why there couldn't be. Gods, of course. There must be more than one of the buggers. Ugh, so obvious. But then that means, since there have been repeated sightings of these fiends, then there must be even more victims as yet undiscovered. I do believe we're out of our depth. We ought to leave the rest to the expert. Yes, we're just civilians after all. Good luck, adventurer. It was a pleasure knowing you. While I burn to know the truth, some things are best left unknown. Lest you have forgotten, it was all at the rocky area to the west that I had my encounter. Should you discover aught of note, you will want to alert authorities. There is a guardhouse nearby. The serpents there should be pleased for any information that pertains to the security of the region. So basically they're all scared now. So they really changed this quest line, because remember when I got the lentils and chestnuts earlier? Well, when this originally came out, Medrod here, you had to comfort him, and then he was like, well, I don't know if I can talk about it, it's so terrifying. And then I think it was Aiden would be like, maybe if you got him some of his favorite food, he would feel a little bit better. He loves lentils and chestnuts or whatever. And so you would be like, okay. And then you would think you could come over here and be like, hey, would you sell me some lentils and chestnuts? And they're like, no. And it turns out you had to go all the way back to Gridania to get them, or happen to be a chef in like a leveled up cooking class. So that's why they gave you the lentils and chestnuts. But I guess they changed the quest even more, because he never asked for the lentils and chestnuts. And that's the entire reason that they gave it to me, was because people used to get like, well, where am I supposed to get these stupid lentils and chestnuts? And so then they started putting it in as a quest reward, kind of like the chicken egg earlier. And I guess they've tweaked this quest line even more, because it did used to be a little more annoying, for sure, but that's kind of funny. So you guys are never going to believe where this goes, where this leads to. Oh my gosh, it's a flying eyeball. Okay, now we run the corpse back. I will say that it's really a sign of how good the writing in Final Fantasy is, that you kind of go off in this whole little side quest tangent. I mean, let's be honest, all this stuff that I'm doing right now, it is part, like, chasing La Habrea is part of the bigger story, but all the stuff I've been doing is really more like side quests. You know, all the stuff in Little Alamigo, all this stuff now, it's really more like side quests, but it's woven so well into the fabric of the main story quest that you don't really notice that much until someone points it out. Greetings, adventurer. Is there aught I might assist you with? I have a body. Gods be good, not again. No matter how many bodies I see, I cannot seem to get used to the horrid sight. Poor woman. Identical deaths have been reported in the Central Shroud. While the masked stranger you seek does not seem to feature in any sightings of the winged eyeball are common enough. The creature appears to be moving the bodies, but to what end, none can say. The victims have all been young women, all found with their faces mutilated beyond recognition. It's been difficult to identify them so as to notify their next of. This button engraved with the lily motif. The very same object was found upon another victim. A family sigil, or that of an organization, perhaps? Either way, I dare to hope that this will prove pivotal in solving the murders. So now we have a button. Oh crap, I would have you do something about the button. While it isn't standard procedure to entrust key evidence to individuals, you have proven yourself reliable and resourceful in this matter. I see no reason why you shouldn't carry on your work. If I might make a suggestion, you may wish to take the button to Gridania and have it examined by Mione. Mayhaps someone in the vast network of contacts can shed light upon its sigil. That is kind of the only bummer, is like, oh, here we go. So the first thing he said was, I would have you hold on to the lily button. You will need it to continue your investigation. Okay, there we go. Oh wait, so we're just gonna go to Gridania now. To Gridania and beyond! Good evening to you, Sophie. By your grim expression, I suspect you aren't here for scones and herb tea. Well, isn't this a lovely little button? The engraving is quite exquisite. Artisan level quality, I would say. Where did you say you found this? On a dead body. Lovely. Anyway, I'm afraid I do not recognize the lily sigil. You will have to find the answer the old-fashioned way, by asking around. You could do worse than beginning with Bernadette over by the Aetheryte Plaza. She has a sharp pair of eyes, that one. Bernadette. Bernadette. I bring to you a button. Need help tracking down the owner of a button? That's certainly not a request I receive on a regular basis. Well, go on then. Show me what you have. Seems to be some manner of decorative button reminiscent of those worn by the families of old, though I cannot claim to know its sigil. However, I can say with certainty that the white lily is a recurring theme in Gridanian culture. Alas, I do not know who would make a personal sigil of it. If there is a soul in Gridania who does, it would be Sign-Gild. We'll go with Sign-Gild. Over at the Lancers Guild. The woman makes a point of knowing all the citizens on the four-name basis. Bernadette believes that I can help you? Well, that is a rather bold assumption to make. I will try to assist, never you fear, but whether aught comes of it is another matter. Now then, what do you require of me? I has a button. Fascinating. Work of this quality is rarely seen in the hands of ordinary Gridanians. The owner of this button is most certainly well-to-do. You may wish to take your search to the Gentry's Ward, northwest of here. Wait, a memory comes to me. Of late there has been a man who is perpetually seated at the bench by the ward's entrance. His name is Ursendel, and I distinctly recall seeing a markedly similar button upon the breast of his jacket. I dare say he can tell you a thing or two about it. I do not believe we are acquainted. Pray, leave me to my thoughts. How about you think about this button? The sigil of the Dartoncourt's family. How is it that you came to be in possession of this button? From the body of a murdered woman? Her face? Was it marred in any way? I had feared as much. I can no longer feign ignorance. I shall reveal to you the truth of the deaths, but on one condition. You promise to put an end to my lady's madness and free her from her torment. Oh, what's up with that? I was once a manservant in the employ of one of the oldest and proudest families in Gridania, the Dartencours. During that time, I had the honor of waiting upon Lady Amadine, mistress of the household. Fair as summer was she, and possessed of a heart befitting her radiance. Alas, the calamity wrought a great change in her. Though my lady escaped with her life, death may well have been a kinder fate. Never will I forget the day her bandages were removed, and she beheld her disfigured face for the first time. At that moment, the kindly woman I knew ceased to be. Unable to bear the thought of being seen, my lady sequestered herself within her chambers and refused all company. This continued for many uneasy moons until one day, without warning, she began receiving queer guests. None among us knew whence they came, these masked men, but my lady believed that they would help her to regain that which she had lost. So began the rites of rejuvenation. These rituals seemed innocent enough in the beginning, but grew ever more grotesque as time went by. Eventually, there came a day when my lady bound one of her handmaidens to her bed, and proceeded to mutilate the poor girl's face. Suffice it to say, she did not survive the ordeal. It fell to me to dispose of her body. I performed the dreadful task as bade, obedient servant that I was, but when the time came to return to the house, my legs refused to move. I knew then that I could not go back to that place, not after the nightmare I had witnessed. So it was that I left Hawk Manor, my home for nigh on half a century. Long did I weep for the girl who was slain, and longer still for the woman that Lady Amadine had been. Yet one cannot weep forever, and I endeavored to put the matter behind me. Indeed, I had resolved never to speak of my experience until you appeared before me. My lady's madness must be ended, lest more innocent lives be lost. Lay her tormented soul to rest as you swore to me you would. She awaits you at Hawk Manor on the western edge of Central Shroud. Go now, go and do what must be done. Welcome to Hawk Manor. This really is like my favorite. The music in here is awesome. The theme of it is really good. It's just a really great place. Like, I'm really tempted to just be like, I'm gonna just run the whole dungeon, you can just watch it all. That's like how much I like this dungeon, but I feel like if I do that, it's too long of a video and it's not entertaining enough. So you'll just have to trust me, it's an excellent dungeon. But we'll do what we've been doing. You know, this is enough to kind of give you an idea of what to expect. Big creepy hallways, lots of monsters, vampires floating around. There's actually a dungeon at the bottom where you fight like skeletons, and yeah, it's pretty great. But we'll go ahead and do what we've been doing, which is I'll finish this fight, and then we'll go ahead and cut towards the end of the video, or towards the end of the dungeon, and you can see the boss fight. But yeah, I do like this place a lot. So I'll see you later. Alright, here we go. I was waiting for my team to kind of get going here. This group has a WoW refugee, and they had some questions, and so we've been answering them. Here we go. So Lady Ameline, or Amadine, sorry. She's a big vampire, so she does an AoE thing every once in a while. In the room, there's lamps all around the room that'll light up, and that's AoE that you have to knock out. You have to interrupt. Anyway, the lanterns will do AoE damage and summon bombs. And then she's got some ads that show up later. Not terribly difficult, particularly if you know to grab the ads, which I'm doing. The main thing is that interrupt, because if it hits somebody, then they are stunned for, I want to say it's like 15 seconds. It's pretty bad. If you're a paladin, you have like a interrupt on cooldown basically, but if you're not, you have to really make sure you save your interrupt for that one ability. It's called Dark Mist, by the way, in case you're curious. But that's pretty much it. It's not a horribly difficult fight. It's just making sure you grab all the ads and doing an interrupt for that one ability. Darkness has taken root within these halls, sprung from the most unlikely of seeds. One cannot help but admire the irrepressible spirit that quickened it to life. It is a pleasure to meet you at last, adventurer. You're every bit as intriguing as our master gave us to believe. It is no ordinary mortal who can acquire one crystal of light, much less 3. The crystals make you strong, and it is to that strength that the light is drawn. Hydaelyn chose well. A pity that your existence is irreconcilable with our own. We cannot well allow you to continue upon your present course. Alas, we came here not to play, but to take the measure of your strength from Master La Habrea. That task now accomplished, we will take our leave of you. Fare you well, bringer of light.